On today's episode, we're going to talk about everything expansion, limiting beliefs. We're going to talk about comfort zone and leaving your comfort zone and becoming friends with fear, leaving the resistance behind for embracing expansion in our lives and realizing we are all swimming in a pool of possibility. Welcome back, mompreneurs, to another episode of the Good Enough Mompreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Angela Mishuli. Thank you for joining me for this episode that's all about expansion and inviting more growth and possibility into our lives, which we have to learn how to receive that, but we have to first realize that growth and potential is out there for us. It is limitless. And how do we begin to embrace that expansion? So I do often get asked questions all the time about how do I start my business, and I do have a guide that I'll leave in the show notes on how to do that. It's a really cool guide I just revamped and put together on how to start your business or restart your business or side hustle. But what's really important that most people don't work on first is mindset. And this is a really critical part of working on your mindset to help you really grow and thrive as an entrepreneur and as a mom. So we're going to talk about expansion. So what is the opposite of expansion? It's being in your comfort zone. Your comfort zone is where we are born and remain for the rest of our life until some point happens, a pain point, a situation, a dramatic life event, a layoff, a divorce, a death in the family, something that kind of shifts our perspective, makes a difficult job where you just go, what? There has to be more than this. So I am going to talk about how to shift from that default mode to one that invites more expansion. And I'm going to share my own story about how that happened for me, and I'm so grateful that it did. And then what are some of the ways that you can start to walk towards more expansion in your life? Okay, so I just mentioned what the comfort zone is, and we really need to understand why we're in our comfort zone, because our brains are wired to keep us safe. I mean, literally. That's why, let's say you want to talk on stage and share your ideas, but you just feel like you can't because your brain doesn't know the difference between being on stage and being attacked by a bear. Like, the fear that you feel biologically is the same. You feel like your life is in jeopardy. So one of the really key ways to making breakthroughs in your life is to realize that you can begin to harness where your brain focuses and kind of redirecting your brain when you are indeed safe. You're just doing something new and out of your comfort level. So I am guessing that you're curious about expansion in your life, or something has kind of propelled you to this moment to listen to this episode on how to have more expansion in your life. So one of the other parts of living in default mode or in your comfort zone is resistance and also a lack mindset. You see limits everywhere, whether it's financially, whether it's opportunities, whether it's potential within yourself or other people. You want to stay safe. You want to conserve money. You want to conserve energy. You want to conserve effort. You don't see how getting a new degree is going to really amount to anything. So, what is really important is for you to realize that there are limitless possibilities. There is a world of limitless potential that exists for each of us, not just one person. We're not all competing for one pie of potential. We each individually have a limitless pool of opportunity that's available to us if we learn how to call upon it. And that is called an abundance mindset. And it doesn't only come with an outlook on money, it also comes with an outlook on potential. It also comes with an outlook on possibility, seeing the good and the possible growth in anything that you do, in yourself and other people. So what was the sticking point in my life that kind of really ushered me into realizing I needed to embrace more expansion in my life? So I was a military spouse for more than a decade, and my husband retired from his military career in 2017. And we truly thought that we had set ourselves up for easy street. We had made great decisions and lots of sacrifices during his military career, and we were ready to continue working, but life, I believe, we thought was going to be much easier. Well, it was not. So 2017, we moved to Central Florida. We're huge Disney fans, and we love the theme parks and going to the theme parks, and that was definitely a part of being in warmer weather and doing more of what we liked as a family together. We were excited about that. We hit a few hiccups in the beginning, but we did find a house and great jobs, and we thought everything was great. And we decided to then go on a Disney cruise, which at the time was a huge financial investment for us. And it was also, a risk. It was definitely out of our comfort zone. Neither of us had ever been on a cruise before. But it really turned out to be a situation that changed our lives. So we were very excited about this vacation. It was something we'd never been able to take before. And then just days before our exciting vacation, my husband was unexplicably let go from his job. A public company had decided to make financial decisions to make their numbers look better, and my husband was the newest guy, and they let him go, and didn't matter that he had all of these great deals in the works and whatnot, but that's how the chips fell. So we were in a decision whether we should go on this vacation or not, but it was really too late to cancel and not lose all our money. So we decided, let's go. We feel really crummy now, but things are going to work out. So I'm so glad we did do that, because it opened my eyes to a way of living that I had never experienced. Like, I had never been in a situation where I had felt so pampered and taken care of and lived such a luxurious life for a week. It was wonderful. And I really felt after that experience that other people needed to know in one way or another that this life existed, because we took the risk, the financial and comfort risk, to just go on this trip that we didn't know whether we would like or not, and at a time in our life was a huge financial commitment when things were uncertain. So that is what led me on a journey to start a travel business that helped other families experience cruises or take experiences together that expanded their lives. And then at the same time, I started this podcast because other moms would come to me and ask me how I started a business. And I would help them learn, but then I soon realized they were not expanding and growing in their business because they were not focusing on the expansion. they were focusing on the nuts and bolts of just setting up a business. They were not setting up their mindset for growth and unlocking all of their potential that really existed in their business by growth and focusing on their personal development. And one of the things that comes to mind as I'm recording this podcast is my conversation with Elisa Schmitz, who wrote Become the Fire. And I'm going to leave a link to our conversation below. But she has a really great take on embracing discomfort, becoming friends with fear, powering through resistance. And one of the ways that you can do that is weighing the risk versus the reward. And she had some experiences where she could have sat on the sidelines. She could have stayed small, but she chose not to because the reward was potentially way more than the risk, and certainly way better than her situation had she decided to stay home and not do what she did. So definitely check out that episode if you have not heard it yet. And so yeah, that is one way that you can start to overcome your fear. And one of the other ways that you can start to overcome your fear and resistance when opportunities present themselves to help you grow is that once you start doing it enough, you'll realize when you start feeling that fear in your gut, when you start feeling that resistance, when you start telling yourself, oh no, I can't do this because of XYZ, which is really a bunch of excuses that your brain is telling you to keep you safe, you can start to take some small steps forward that help you become comfortable with that fear and resistance, and you realize you begin to see the expansion that lies on the other side of that fear. So you, in a sense, become friends with the fear because you realize it's an invitation to grow. It's not a message that you should listen to because your brain will lie to you. It is meant to keep you safe, but it doesn't understand the difference between you being attacked by a grizzly bear and wanting to do something like talk on a stage to a new group of people and share your ideas. So you have to retrain your brain to know the difference. You have to train yourself to observe your mind. So when you are going to speak to a new group of people and you're not really being attacked by a bear, you can begin to settle yourself down and become friends with the fear and move forward and expand your life in ways you never expected. Like, it was not comfortable at all whatsoever starting a podcast about a topic I never intended because I just felt called to do it. It was so hard at the beginning. Not only the fear, but just not even knowing why I was supposed to be doing it. But it has led me to interview more than 30 people. It's led me to connect with so many business owners and people who need help in seeing expansion and setting up their businesses and so much more. So what are some of the other ways that really can help you to adopt a more abundant mindset and begin to expand your horizons? A really great exercise in learning how to do this is beginning to create a list of things that you want. And oftentimes we have that lack mentality, that lack mindset because we grew up in an environment where we were told things were too expensive, or you weren't smart enough, or you weren't good enough. Or we had experiences with teachers or coworkers or employers and bosses and friends who really weren't our friends, who set all these limitations, family, their beliefs, you incorporated them. So one thing you can start to do is start keeping a list. Set 5 minutes a day, and consistency is key because this will be really difficult at the beginning. Set aside 5 minutes a day to start making a list of 5 things that you want. This will feel really uncomfortable at the beginning. It doesn't take a lot of time. It's personal to you. It's free, but it is an exercise in learning to want things for yourself, for your future, for your career, for your family, for your loved ones. Then you can start assessing, what are the things that I need to do to obtain these things or achieve these things. Then you're going to seek out information to validate that those things are possible, because your brain only knows excuses and reasons why it's not possible, or it won't happen, or it can't happen. All the things that you tell yourself that limit you and keep you small and keep you from sharing your gifts with the world ultimately. So again, make sure that you begin to incorporate a 5-minute exercise daily for like a month. It will feel really awkward at first. Nobody has to see it. 5 minutes, everybody can spare 5 minutes. But really where the important thing is that you're going to make a commitment to yourself to grow in this way. And begin to start keeping a list of the things that you want. Vacations, new house, new job, new education level. You want to write a book, you want to create a course, you want to speak to people. Do you want to set up a website? Do you want to learn a new skill? Do you want to have a new relationship? Do you want, whatever it is that lights you up and feels so exciting? What is the most exciting thing that you can think of? And it costs nothing to dream, but somehow along the way we learn to abandon our dreams, abandon what we really want to do. So we need to rediscover that so we can begin finding that fire within ourselves to go there, because it's all possible. It really is. I know people think it sounds cliche, but in my time, since I started on my really seriously zeroed in on my personal development journey, even before the pandemic, the things that I have been able to create in my life, a lot of people call it manifestation, are really just, I had to pinch myself because I started to realize the possibility. I started to realize all that was available to me in the universe, the world. And it was there for me to learn to accept that it was possible, but also accept personally to receive it, to feel worthy to receive it. So those are all things we will get into and further discuss on the podcast. But today I just want to plant the seed for more expansion in your life. So I hope that I did that successfully. And I can't wait to talk to you next time. But before I go, I want to invite you to be sure to subscribe to the podcast. Our next episode is our 50th. I can't wait to share that with you, and it has lots of special announcements. If you're enjoying this podcast, please leave us a review. Let me know. I love to hear from you. You can also reach out to me at mombusinesscoach.com, and then be sure to share this episode with anybody you might think would find it helpful. So with that, I hope you have a great one, and thank you so much for listening, and I can't wait to talk to you next time. Bye.